Hey,
Hey, Phil.
Andy.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hope you are.
I am. Thank you.
So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to make an offer more competitive. And right now in this market, things are starting to heat up. We are starting to see a few multiple offers.
Yeah.
Just did an open house on Sunday, and it was a revolving door, and we ended up with a cash offer out of that open house.
Ooh,
Uh,
don't say that. Don't say cash.
it is what it is.
Yep, and it's good for
And
the seller.
it is good for the seller. But as I am also helping, I've got some young buyers. I've got buyers who are looking at things that if a house is in a prime location, if it's pristine and ready to go, then it's very possible that as the market heats up, that they're going to receive multiple offers.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that I like to talk to a buyer about who is using a lender is to speak to their lender about sending that contract or sending the information through underwriting as far as it can go. So can you tell a little bit about how y'all do that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. And that's extremely important. I just mentioned, well, when you mentioned the C word cash, I covered my ears because that's a bad word for a mortgage person.
Yeah,
But the goal is to try to make your buyer's offer as close to a cash offer as possible.
right,
And the only way really that we can do that if there's a mortgage involved is to go ahead and get that file submitted to underwriting and approved with underwriting, where the only conditions that are outstanding at that point are the sales contract, the appraisal, and of course, title insurance.
right,
And so once the, and if it's an FHA loan or a VA loan, that we have a pest inspection as well that we have to submit to underwriting. But for a conventional loan, we don't. So that file has essentially gone all the way through underwriting, and any concern that the seller may have about the buyer's income or assets or credit, all of those are alleviated because all of
right.
that stuff is cleared through underwriting. And so it is a great way to strengthen an offer is to go ahead and apply, give us all those income and asset documents, and let us submit that file to underwriting, and we can get a big check mark beside those qualifications.
Right. That takes someone from a pre-qualification status, right, to a pre-approval status. Is that right?
It does.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And almost eliminates all those underwriting conditions. Yeah.
Right. And something else that I'm pretty sure y'all do is that you're willing to have a conversation with the listing agent on
We
behalf of that buyer, right?
absolutely, we feel like that is critical, especially in as like you said, the spring market's heating up. And you know, uh, if a listing agent is not familiar with a mortgage company that has provided a pre-approval letter, i.e., a lot of the internet lenders and a lot of out-of-town lenders, the listing agent's not familiar with those. So I think by using a local lender, number one, the buyers strengthen their offer, but number two, having us reach out to that listing agent to say, "Hey, we are local, we're here, we're going to communicate with you along the way, so you're not left in the dark as this loan progresses," is another huge positive.
Right, right. That's good. And some other things that can be done, of course, um, your realtor, and this is something I do, needs to do our due diligence in running comps and seeing possibly how far over asking you can go without being concerned about appraisal. However, one thing that if the buyer's financial position allows, you can put in what's called an appraisal gap. And if you're a buyer, I'll be glad to talk to you more about that. But that's where, in a nutshell, where you cover the gap. Um, you cover the gap from the contract price to the appraised price to the appraised value if they are not the same. So, and another thing that can be done is, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
You came in. Uh, Another thing that can be done is, you can also talk to the listing agent and find out what's important. If those
Mhm.
people need longer in the home, and if the buyer is able, many times they are, if they're able, they can give them the closing and possession dates that they need. Another thing that helps is to typically on a financed contract, the buyer and seller split the title and split the attorney's fees. And I have had buyers who are willing to pay all of title and all of the attorney's fees. And typically, roughly, it puts about $1,500 into the seller's pocket without having to have the appraisal come into play for those funds.
Right.
So those are a few things.
Yeah. And sometimes just a little thing like that is all it takes to make your offer the better offer,
Right.
competitive situation. So those are great tips. And, that's the benefit of using an agent that is full-time and experienced. And that's definitely what somebody's getting when they hire Susan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, Andy, and appreciate all that you're willing to do to help get a deal pushed through. So,
Well, thank you. Yeah,
all
we
right.
we take these on like they're our own loans, so they mean a lot to us too.
Good. All right.
So
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
thank you,
Bye.
Susan.